Santa Fe, New Mexico is known for its distinct arts district on Canyon Road, and so it's not surprising to find here the painting studio of Billy Schenck, one of the originators of the Western pop art movement. Western art collectors agree in the value of Schenck's work, as his paintings can be found in some 52 museums across the nation. Billy has agreed to let us acquire 2 of his historic pieces, and we sit down today to continue a conversation that the 2 of us had a year ago via Zoom. I love them.
Good.
I love them.
Me too.
So what I was thinking, should we do, maybe we interviewed a little bit? It's hard to interview you because you've got so many interviews. And I interviewed you, so I thought maybe we would just start kind of in the middle of where we left off. And,
Okay.
Just talk a little bit.
Sure.
You just
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah? You just got into the Autry Museum?
Well, no, I've been doing the show at the Autry for quite a while.
Oh, really? I thought maybe it just got acquired.
No, they actually have one of my big paintings. I don't know how many years I've been out there with them. With that show that they do every February. I don't remember the names of these things. Night of the Masters, Night of the...
Masters. I just watched your interview. Where do you want to sit?
Oh, we can sit down here by the paintings, wherever the tables are wrecked. Right?
Let's sit by the paintings and we'll have the paintings behind us.
I just finished... I don't know how many... I've been...
Do people call you Bill or Billy?
Billy.
Billy?
I don't like Billy. I happen to like Billy the Kid, and I like Billy Martin, who was the manager of the Yankees and second baseman. You know, a highly volatile, out of control, irrational human being. He was my kind of guy.
Yeah, I pulled into Santa Fe last night and saw your clouds immediately.
Oh, you did?
I was like, oh, those are Billy's clouds, in the sky. It's almost exactly the way you paint them. Is exactly how Santa Fe clouds are.
Well, that was one reason that I got attracted to coming down here. I mean, I came out here first from New York in the spring of, I think it was 1970, or I'm not sure whether it was 70 or 71, but I came down and got on a movie set that was being shot down here southwest of Santa Fe in Galisteo. So I could get, more of my own photographs to work from as reference material. So I got introduced to the assistant director and the director for a film that Glenn Ford was starring in. And they were real nice. At first they assumed I was just going to come out and shoot for a few days, and I stayed with them for 6 weeks for the entire shoot. And then they threw me off the set. They just had enough of, I was trying to stay out of the way, but they didn't, now you couldn't do that at all. There was maybe 30 people at the most on the whole crew. Now to do anything, it's like 250 people. It's insane. And plus, these sets are all closed now. It was much easier. Anyways, that's how I got introduced to the Santa Fe. And then I went up to Jackson Hole and bought property there that same fall after I had my first solo show. So I was up on Pacific Creek. So, and my stepfather was a ranger. And they lived in a log cabin out at Kelly in the summers. Yeah. And I was living in Lander in the summers with an uncle. And so we would drive up to Jackson, every weekend and just hang out with them and knock around. And so I can remember going out, to the drive-in theater that was on the west side of, that was 1965, 66.
Well, I feel like that's in Idaho. Is that?
No, there was one south of the Y, where the high school and all that stuff is. And then I remember driving out and, a 6-pack of beer and watching what I thought was a bunch of morons to build Teton Village. I thought, what? This is crazy.
Man, you should see that place now.
I know it is. I go up every year.
It's horrible. It looks like
that's not a place I would ever want to live again.
No, it's different. People kind of turned it into something it wasn't,
Well, yeah, all the real Western flavors pretty much been bleached out of it.
It's bicyclers and...
Yeah.
But everybody still remembers you.
Do they?
Yeah. The Billy Schenck.
I wasn't really aware of that.
What was the lady's name? Jen James. They have a ranch over in Daniel. And I guess she used to sell your paintings, and so I've been trying to get one off of her son. They've got one of your pieces.
Well, yeah, I guess the older families would remember me, and because that's where I started rodeoing bareback and saddle bronc riding was there in Jackson Hole. So that's how I got to know all the local homesteader families. You know, they've been there since 1915 or whatever, so you go back that far.
Yeah, were you with the Wilson Rodeo, or were you in...
No, Wilson was already done before I started. That I don't know when that happened, but no, there was nothing left except the what was the name of it? Stagecoach bar.
Yeah.
And all the photographs they had of the rodeo arena that was, I think, right behind there.
That's still there. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
The rodeo arena is?
No, well, yeah, the rodeo arena. And then in the winter, it's an ice skating rink. And
Huh, I didn't know that.
yeah, and the Stagecoach bar is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That was
then-
a fun scene. That was a crazy little place.
Yeah, it was nice. And then
They
the
were-
Rancher bar is closed.
Yeah,
No,
is it?
something else. Your painting is gone.
Yeah, I know. I actually, that thing was in storage in Salt Lake City, and the owners sent it down to me and needed a little bit of restoration. They had not treated it well in storage, so I did some restoration, and then, you know, we're slowly in the process of trying to create a foundation here, but it wasn't going to happen fast enough. They needed to make some money, so eventually they put it at auction, I think at Hyman in Denver,
Okay.
and it sold there.
Yeah, auctions. I hear you're coming up behind your auctions and buying your stuff up for your Shank Southwest.
Well, I have on a couple occasions.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we buy to resell, especially if the prints come back on the market at what we consider a reasonable enough risk, you know, because we've sold out of most of all the earlier editions, and the prices have kept going up in the secondary market, so we'll buy, you know, and resell.
Hey, you do print? You do giclés?
No, I do not do giclés.
When you say print.
I'll show you, hold on, just a second. So this would probably be more than a 35, 40 color serigraph, but you would literally have to number all of these just like you would in a paint by number kit, so that like all the whites are going to be marked, you know, number 1. All your blue sky, if it is one color, it's going to be number 2. So then you've got clouds, and there's three different colors in the clouds, so you have to number every single area until you get to the end. So that when you cut the screens, you're cutting the screens specifically for the number 1s, and then again for the 2s, and so, and then you start screening the colors, and hope to God at the end of the whole process, you've got an image that works. Otherwise, you have to, you know, do some finagling and changing colors and all that until it actually.
Yeah, this is almost more work than the actual painting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's way more labor intensive. I mean, I can do a painting like this when I get it done will probably be close to 100 hours. A serigraph of that is going to be something like 200, 250. A lot of hours, tons of hours.
So these paintings that we've got here, this is the, I forget the name of this one, where it's the Riders in the Sand, or
A Day of Reckoning.
Day of Reckoning. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yes, just to give you an example, I don't know where. See, this main figure was from the front cover of a pulp western, and it was actually, the original was in an interior, and there was another guy he was shooting at, and there were flames all over the place. So I wanted it outside, and I didn't want to have a fire. So I just eliminated all that. And then as I project all that, I have to turn everything that you see into a hard edge, you know, flat paint by number style. So I drew the figure first. And then this was from a slide, just right out here, about a mile from the house, of the sagebrush. Of course, that, you know, was not as critical. It's just a matter of getting the scale right. These two figures were from another pulp western. It was a black and white pen and ink drawing. So I converted that, you know, again into my system. And then of course, I had to indent the color. And then the cloudscape, it's just pure invention. There's really no slide.
Kind of. It is outside of your house.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's stuff that influences, the skies are definitely one reason why I live here.
The smoke coming out of this gun is so...
Right.
You almost
Exactly.
don't even notice it, and the more you look at it.
Well, you probably wouldn't notice it on a small scale, but now that you get to see the painting,
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know how big this is, 50 by 50 or 48 or 45 by 45.
And then this one here, let's move this.
No, I just moved the painting over so we can see it.
Okay.
Shoot.
What?
The framing, I didn't realize it. Oh, they did put this high writing on the sand.
This one, yeah, it's the signature. You went through a period of time where you weren't signing the front of your painting.
I still sometimes don't. I'll show you. It depends on whether I think it's going to mess up the image or not. Particularly on the pure pop pieces, there's no signature on this painting. There's not going to be a signature on this painting. There probably will be on this one. There will be on this one. Maybe on this one. I can't paint my signature on a small scale, so there's none there. There's none there, but there is one there. So it's totally arbitrary. Georgia O'Keeffe did the same thing. Signed both in back and front.
Yeah, I was just listening to you. You were talking with Medicine Man Gallery, Mark Sullivan.
Mark Sublette.
That's the second time I've done that, Mark Sublette.
There's a Sublette County in Wyoming, southern Wyoming.
Maybe
down by Pinedale.
Is it his family?
I don't know if it might be. They were trappers, you know, from the 1830s, the Sublettes up there. And he's an old family from southern New Mexico, but yes, it's very possible.
Same coming out of Colorado, probably. But yeah, it's interesting to. It was interesting listening to you talk to Mark Sublette because, like I said, a lot of the interviews. Lots of people seem to ask you the same questions, and then you get to Mark Sublette, and you actually know him. And so you guys skip right over all of that introduction, and you just start talking about.
I've done 2 podcasts with him. I think more than an hour each, and he's doing that as an archival process. He's been talking to museum directors, to art historians, along with other artists, and he's got I don't know, more than 150. Podcast interviews now?
He's got a lot. Well, he was doing, the podcast seems like it's new. He was doing, for a while, he was just kind of standing in a room and talking to the camera.
Oh, yeah.
And then he kind of came to your house, it looked like, and you did like a documentary type
I don't remember him
video.
being here doing that. I just remember sitting in his office doing that.
Oh, was it his office, not yours? And, oh my gosh, ask and you shall receive.
Yeah. Here, let me grab.
Brought you the print book?
I want you to see
How
this.
many catalog resumes have you done?
This is the first one they've done on print. And now, I don't know if he told you his printer passed away, who he's worked with for 40 years. So now
So
you need
this
to
is
find
what the
something
new
new.
version of that looks like. Yeah, you can go ahead and set that up there. But let me just show you. See, there's all these newer prints.
Yeah.
That would, there weren't, and see, here's all this added information, which I've seen both Warhol and Lichtenstein did. When there were catalog raisonnés of their prints, they added that kind of information. When this stuff goes to auction, this is.
I've got that one.
Okay.
Hey, I interviewed Michael Clawson.
Yes.
After this.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I saw
you did?
this. Yeah, and I was kind of like looking at it, and I was talking to him, and I was like, blah, 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 Billy Schenck, and I flipped it over. I was like, oh. I was like, this is Billy Schenck on the cover of your January magazine. And I was holding it and hadn't really looked at it. Yeah. So then we kind of got together, and yeah.
And he had a really great show up in Salt Lake City.
Oh,
Which
in
that painting was
Cedar.
Well, both. See,
Cedar City was the museum show.
That was the museum retrospective with Warhol. That's what that blue catalog is.
This one.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I open this?
Oh, yeah, it's yours. Here, I'll take it and I'll get the...
Oh.
And then simultaneously, I was doing a solo show of the landscape paintings at a gallery, Modern
It
West.
was called Shank's, Utah.
Yeah,
Is that the one?
yeah.
Where's that? That's not in Cedar City?
No, the museum show is in Cedar City. It's down the freeway, about 3 hours south of Salt Lake City.
I've got to check that out. We have a little boutique in Provo. Not a boutique, it's a concierge kind of invitation only showroom. So we're up in Provo a lot.
Wow.
So it's right there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So this one here,
That's a 52-year retrospective. And then the reason that show got put together is my crossover career with Warhol. And so the front part of the catalog are the Warhol Cowboys and Indians. Which he did just a year before he died.
were you able to curate these together with your show? Were these at the show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Briscoe Museum borrowed this suite of prints from a private collector, but once the show was established and it started traveling, the lender donated the entire collection of the Warhols to the museum. So they own them now.
Just a donation.
Pardon me?
It was a donation. They gave them to the museum.
Yeah. And that show just came down from Cedar City, so those paintings were shipped back to us, and they'll stay here for a year, and then the show goes to that new Western Art Museum in Scottsdale.
Scottsdale Museum of the West.
Oh, yeah.
In 2013. And there's
Yeah,
another museum in
2023.
Boise, Idaho that's interested, but at this point, the Briscoe wants to bring the prints home. They don't want them exposed that much to light for a while. So if I get to continue my retrospective, it'll just be with my work. But then I can add more paintings too, because we have 78 paintings in our personal collection.
Well, aren't you going to do that here? Or do you want it to tour?
Well, the foundation will own the work, but yeah, as long as I can tour it, it's all to my benefit, because it just puts my work in front of other people's eyes, and it also gives me the opportunity. I do these lectures at all these different museum venues, and I'm just impressed with what people remember. I mean, from lectures I did, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and now they say, I saw that, and I had to have a Shank. Wow, geez, okay, well, I'll just keep doing lectures as much as they give me the opportunity to do it, because it does turn people into collectors.
Yeah,
Or people who are already collecting other stuff, and then I get on their radar.
I wish I'd made it to your lecture at the Autry back in, was it
Oh,
January?
yeah, it was just before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good one. I did a PowerPoint presentation there, it was a little more than an hour long, and here's where I'm getting really good response. A lot of these other Western artists, use projected imagery, or they build it in Photoshop until it's absolutely perfect to their liking, and then however they transfer it from a digital image up to canvas. But nobody talks about their process of using projected imagery. It's all, with the Western art world, it's all sacred. You have to be a great draftsman, and you hand draw all this stuff. And me coming from the contemporary world, everybody had studio assistants. People had help doing it. I came up with the school of photorealism, and out here that's like sacrilegious. So I do a lecture like at the Autry, and I do a PowerPoint presentation. Here's one of an old black and white photograph from 1972, and my then wife Kiffer has volunteered to do the second coats on the painting. So I got a photograph of her painting the painting, one of mine. And then I've got others where the projector, and you can just see the drawing. And so now I get credit for my honesty. Oh, wow, okay. I mean, if that's such a big deal, I mean, to expose my processes. And it also turns off other museum directors, so I can't get into the Prito West fundraiser show. I can't get into the Idaho Jordan, the one in Denver. None of those. They're all closed to me because of how I go about building an image. When on the other hand, then other people champion my cause and appreciate my transparency of how I make these things. So I win and lose with that.
Well, even Picasso used to use assistants.
Vermeer did. Degas did. You can go all the way through a few centuries and people are using projected imagery. So what? I'm not a great natural draftsman. I never was. So it helped enormously for me to be able to project an image, and it still takes some kind of thinking and talent to separate, particularly from a slide, and you got, let's see, 80,000 weeds per square foot, and here's clouds that go from here to eternity, and all this other information, and I'm doing a reductive, process of what am I eliminating, what am I keeping, and how am I stylizing it, and yet give you something that still looks compelling or real. So there's still, an intellectual or artistic process involved. And of course, yes, I've gone around the inability to hand draw. Now I can draw landscapes, mesas, trees. I just have a difficult time with figures and horses. But it doesn't matter. Whatever it takes to make the image is legal in the world of art.
We didn't finish talking about this painting.
Yeah, I did that a while back. To be perfectly honest, I did this and it was sold immediately, and later I bought it back.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And then I want it?
Yeah, I mean, that happens. I do this. Sometimes I've traded back earlier work for older. It's just both ways. So that's how this came to be, and we never put it back on the market. We just had it here, And then, Rebecca showed you an image of it, and you guys responded to it. So
Yeah, we love it.
that's why you have it now.
Is there,
This is from an old black and white photograph originally, from Arizona highways, I believe, from like 1950s. And this figure is, it's another black and white photograph of a different era, whatever. And all this ground and all that is me in Monument Valley. And then again, of course, I just built the sky, from scratch. But I knew when I was doing these figures, I liked this particular landscape because it had the raking light. So, you've got the very, front foreground in shadow, and then you just barely get to see the sand and then the light coming across the...
I just noticed that you blended.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I do, on some of them. You see, like the smoke here is blended.
Yeah.
That cowgirl over here has got a portion of a blend sky. That sky up there, is blended. And so is that. So that varies.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, sometimes they're very flat, like this, and other times they are blended. I didn't even start blending any of these guys until 2010.
On purpose.
Yeah, I mean, at first I kept everything flat, and I just thought sometimes those paintings aren't as compelling as if I tried to blend them, and then there's just another element of realism or depth to them.
I mean, I think it's interesting that people want to lock you down and not let you, to do kind of what you want to do. And
I don't think anybody's been very successful at locking me down doing anything. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the problem that artists don't see when they're starting their careers, that they may flounder around until they find their voice, and suddenly they're getting shows and they begin, selling some work. And just as quickly they get pigeonholed for what they first initially got recognized for. And then it's hard for them to break out. But I've been at this for so many decades, and I've gone through so many different periods that people don't have that kind of expectation for me. I mean, I have my Native Americans, I've got the cowgirls, I've got landscapes, the graffiti, or caption paintings, I mean, the halftone dot stuff. So I get to float around through all these different genres that I work on, but it keeps what I do fresh. So it's not, oh yeah, we've seen Shank, it's the same thing he was doing 3 years ago, same thing he was doing 5 years ago. I get to avoid it. I think that's why I've still got a viable career.
yeah,
After 52 years of doing this. Here's the other book she wanted to give you, and that's all the, and I can tell you no other artist has ever done this. Some of these reproductions are not great because I never had good, 4x5 transparency shot from the earlier work, so I had to do these from slides. But at least it's a documentation of the museum and corporate collections I'm in. And I thought there was enough of these corporate and museum collections to actually make a book, because there's quite a few images that are in public collections at this point.
I mean, you're everywhere.
Yep, all over the country.
I don't know if I already said this since we've been sitting, but when I went to interview Michael Clawson and I went into the Western Spirit Museum to use the bathroom, I was like, oh, there's a Billy Schenck right on the front wall as soon as you walk in. I was like, here he is. So, Shank Southwest is not going to be, you don't house like a museum here.
No, not on the property, but the house, with the property itself, the whole property, is on the state and national historic register. And besides my legacy that we want to protect, is the man who is the landscape architect who did the house and all of the trees, plant, everything here, and all the management of the water and the acequias, was a world-renowned landscape architect. So, and we have groups, we just had a group of 35 people who came down to see his work and in combination of what I do. So there's two legacies that we're trying to protect. And I do have up across the road another 5 acres that's contiguous to this. So there's 17 acres altogether. So the eventual intent would to build administrative, storage, shipping, and a gallery, 2-story gallery, so we can do revolving exhibitions. And we can just rotate, paintings that we have in the permanent collection in and out. Well, it's my long-term vision, and most artists, are pursuing their career, but if they're, being able to feed their family and have a nice home, that's kind of the extent of their vision, which is fine. I've just...
Well, talking to you was the first time I'd ever heard the word retrospective. I didn't know what that was.
Oh, is that right?
And now when I talk to artists, I'm like, well, you gotta do a retrospective. You gotta get your paintings back.
You're speaking Mandarin right then and there to them. That's another world that for most of them didn't exist, except for some of the guys like who have been at it for 50 years, and they suddenly think, oh God, yeah. I've got a museum director or a curator that wants to do a retrospective. So there's a lifetime retrospective. But I've been doing this since 1983. I don't even know how many museum retrospectives I've had at this point, but it's over 15.
And do you work with very many galleries anymore? You do. You're in Texas. Yeah. You're all over.
Oh, we're all everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a problem with me being too prolific. I have discovered through. Oh, it really started in the 1980s in New York, when some of the up-and-coming new talents like Eric Fischel, David Solly, Lisa Yuskovich, their galleries tried to create an aura of rarity. They were trying to promote the opposite of prolificacy. So there would be a false sense of there's only a few paintings available. So you would create this kind of like, be on a waiting list. I got to get the next Eric Fischel. I got to get the next Lisa Yuskovich. And I've always been prolific, so there's no way I could create a false rarity to my work. So they have an active list of people, and this is true now of a lot of the Western artists. And the magic number is between 20 and 25 paintings a year. So they keep everybody on bated breath waiting for the next painting. I can't paint that few. I can't sit and do nothing. Not to say that they aren't doing anything when they're not painting, but it's what I do all day, every day. I get a million ideas in my head. I want to see them, so I make paintings. So as a result of that, because I saturate different markets, I keep the stuff out there in as many different venues as possible. But now I have it at a point where some of the venues don't have anything in mind at the moment, or only have just a couple. So I've created the same situation where people are wanting stuff, and so I'm very careful about who I even would consign work to. And mostly, we keep stuff here, off the market, until the right situation presents itself, and then we either sell it or consign it to somebody who's already got an interested party. I mean, it's just a way of orchestrating the career, Like I said, I can't hide the fact that I am prolific. Everybody in the world knows it.
I wonder if this is... Oh, somebody's phone is going off. I thought maybe it was David. I do kind of want that painting on the floor. Okay. So in the back of my head as you're talking, I'm kind of waiting for David to tell me to get it.
Okay. That's $6,500 retail, so it's whatever percentage of that less.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for letting me fill my space with some Billy Schenck.
Oh, absolutely.
I can get going.
Yeah, and if you begin turning these, all the better for me. I mean, I got the same situation now with my gallery in Jackson Hole. They just, they buy the work outright or they commission it.
Who are you with in Jackson Hole?
Well, this is real wild. I'm with Terry Winchell at Fighting Bear Antique.
Oh, okay.
I'm the only living artist he's got. But he and I have been doing business ever since he moved to Jackson in the late 80s.
No more Trailside. Trailside is gone.
Oh, they've been, yeah.
Yeah.
Mary Vaughn gave up. I think it was right during the COVID era.
I actually worked for like for a couple months. She closed Trailside Gallery and opened up the Jackson Hole Art Auction.
Oh, well, she did that for a while. She still has that.
She still has that.
Yeah, with Jerry Peters from here. They're partners.
They're closed. I tried to go see it. Yeah, I wanted to go see the gallery, but
And
it was
Peters is
closed
closed?
yesterday. Well, just
Sunday.
and Monday, and then I'm leaving
Yeah.
tomorrow. So
That's a real deal.
world champion Billy Famous. All right, that's it, you guys. We've got two paintings here by Billy Schenck. Billy Famous from Santa Fe, New Mexico. I have a 45 by 45. This painting is called A Day of Reckoning. We have two cowboys here with hand pistols and actually it's three. I just noticed the third artist in the background. We've got 28 by 22. This is called High Riding in the Sand. The color scheme of these two, I don't know if you can see it behind me, but it really just sort of matches, so I do feel like these are a pair that should be kept together. Well, it was fun, and if you get a chance, make sure you go to Santa Fe, New Mexico and check out the gallery walk on Canyon Road. As always, this is Melchor Moore on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and like. Thanks, guys.
Bill, this is important.
That you love me, we really love me. I don't know. Thoughts of us keep running. That truly is for me. But I can't belong to you, girl. This is true, girl. True love, that's the truth, and this much I know for sure. Sheets in the skirt, only lead us back to where we've been before. But I can't belong to you, girl. Now do you wanna hold me down or put me there? Take my legs out like a wooden chair. Run your mouth like I wouldn't care. Did so many things that I wouldn't dare, so I didn't care. And we fought right back. Lost in the middle, both leaders of our backs. The king of the jungle when the wildcat. You get so hot-headed, what a fire. Got a fire, yeah, the fire back. When I get behind you, I'm out. Said I do what it takes like a true love does. Everything fall apart, then I go and pick it up. But I'm not blacked out, you're not Jill Scott. How many times did the bottom get a drop? Every time that it seems that it's meant to be, one of us mess it up to the nth degree. You say that you love me, we really love me. I don't know, thoughts of us keep running. That truly is for me. But I can't belong to you, girl. This is true, girl. True love, that's the truth, and this much I know for sure. Sheets in the skirt, only lead us back to where we've been before. I'm about to go like this, girl. Like this. This love so hot it's cold like a virgin soul, or pure white snow is the Eskimos. Painted toes, you know anything go. Give me all you got and I ask for more. Ask for more, try to pass it off like I forgot how we keep it hot. Between them sheets when we freaking up, late at night when you leaking up, naked in the bed for the weekend, like I really forgot what I'm speaking of. I said enough, just release me, love. If you keep it up, you're gonna see me run. If you see me run, I might never come back. I'll be gone till November like a Fuji rap. I mean no disrespect, but just make it clap and give me all that neck, then you can take it back. You say that you love me, we really love me. I don't know, thoughts of us keep running.